Welcome back to another episode of No Bolts Left Behind. In the last couple episodes, I got this 90s Ford Explorer 5-liter V8 installed in my 68 Mustang. In this episode, I want to try and fix a few fitment issues I still have, and I'd like to try and make it look less like a 90s Ford Explorer V8. Alright, let's get started. So I gotta admit, now that this engine is in the Mustang, it's really kind of growing on me. I originally didn't have any plans of cleaning it up, making it look nice. I was just gonna slam it in here and burn some rubber, but I'm kind of feeling like it deserves a little bit more love. So I think I want to spend a little bit of time cleaning up this engine just a little bit more, and I want to paint this guy blue. I painted the whole engine blue, and it seems like a shame while I'm here not to hit this front area. I think at the very least this timing cover. And I want to clean up this lower intake manifold. It's going to be covered mostly with the big Plenum thing. Let me do some work prepping this guy, and then once we got it good enough, then we'll hit this with some primer and some paint. All right, I went ahead and took this coolant pipe off of here to get into these cracks. This wire brush works crazy good. I still have to vacuum it out, but man, I feel stupid for not using that on the engine itself. That would have really cleaned that up so much better. But for aluminum, it's like magical. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean all this stuff off here too, and yeah, I removed this guy for two reasons. The other reason was because I kind of bent this guy pretty bad when I put the engine in, and I think actually what I'm going to do instead, I don't know where these coolant lines run, but I'm assuming it's one of those like coolant through the intake manifold things. I'll have to see, but I'll probably end up eliminating that if so. And that means that I can actually cut off this top pipe, and I'll run my already super long coolant hoses pretty much in the factory location right over here and then into this inlet instead. I was considering trying to eliminate both pipes. I don't really like running water through steel because it always rusts and corrodes. There is a sensor here which is destroyed, but is probably like a water temperature sensor for something, and I want to keep that, so I think I'll go ahead and keep this bottom pipe since it's still in good condition. I guess a little rusty here, but good enough condition to run. And I'll maybe try and angle it down so that it angles towards one of these. I don't know which one. Maybe it doesn't matter. But I will cut off this top pipe here. So while that's drying, I got about half hour before I can hit that with the final blue paint. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and do the little modifications here. Just gonna cut off the bracket right here for the pipe and maybe drill this guy out so I can retain whatever this clip is here. I got this thing hit with the black engine paint. I got a little carried away. I was never gonna bother painting this guy, but I'm glad I did. So I think it's probably, yeah, it's close enough. I'm gonna go ahead and hit this with blue, and then I think we'll be good. Wow, that looks so good. I'm very stoked that I chose to paint this guy. Ah, awesome. I gotta say, that Ford blue really stands out. It's a shame I'm gonna have to cover half of this thing with these obnoxious front accessories, but I think it's gonna look cool with that blue just kind of peeking out from behind. All right, well, I did some digging online and did find that adapter, which should thread into the middle of this oil filter, what used to be the remote oil filter, and adapt it to a normal oil filter coming straight off the block. I jumped the gun a little bit and I went ahead and bought two Ford Explorer oil filters, but it looks like this is not the right thread size for this. This is actually more of like an original Mustang part. So luckily I had this 6-cylinder Mustang oil filter ready to go, and it looks like this guy is gonna fit. So I'll squirrel these away for, I don't know what, some future project or something, and I'll just go ahead and use this 6-cylinder filter. Definitely one thing I want to do is hit this guy with some Loctite so that I can make sure not to pull this off when I'm pulling off oil filters. Sweet, got this guy on there. Obviously, before I start this whole thing up, I'm gonna take that back off and fill it with oil. I like to do that, but that's one problem down. You know what? The black filter looks better in there anyway. And one thing I noticed there, made in USA. Ford filters, you know, I just can't find a place where it says made in USA, which means that they are not. So shame on you, Ford. Looks like the aftermarket's doing a better job than you. All right, so the one issue that's sort of known when fitting this sort of like later model 5.0 into an early Mustang, basically the one place that clearance for sure doesn't work is this upper strut tower brace thing here and the intake manifold. I want to check that. I did move my engine just a little bit forward. I don't expect it to fit, but I'm curious to see how close it is. I mean, you know, it's possible maybe I just need to notch this thing or something like that. I'm not sure. Let's take a look. Yep, well, no dice, unfortunately. This thing does hit right there, pretty significantly, actually. You can see we're about an inch off. But actually, it's kind of exciting to see this thing in there. It's gonna look pretty cool. I think this thing it'll look odd in here, but it won't look so out of place, I don't think. Right off the bat, I'm looking at this air filter situation, and I'm thinking that this is gonna have to come right where the battery is. So I'll probably end up moving the battery maybe over here. I'm undecided on that yet. Yeah, that's just too good of a fresh air. And there's even holes already. We'll figure that out when the time comes. All right, so next thing I think I want to do with this guy is see about getting these front accessories, the alternator and the power steering pump, mounted back here on the engine. All right, awesome. No issues there whatsoever. So fitment overall in this engine is actually really pretty good. I've almost always had issues in the past with, you know, these things hitting the frame rails, but really this engine just fits perfectly in here. At least with this, Ford Explorer setup here. So there's even room to put the battery back in here. All right, let's get these two guys pulled off of here and we'll get them stripped down. All right, got both of these things stripped down, and it seems pretty obvious to me that this here, this pulley is really pretty much toasted, definitely on its last leg. So this one is not much better. It still spins, more or less. So I think I'll go ahead and put a couple new ones on order. Definitely a good idea. And let's get these things all polished off, and I'll go ahead and hit these with black engine gas primer, engine enamel, and then black engine high temp paint. right, I got these two guys back on there, and they're looking, I'll say they're looking better. It is a little odd, these like giant black brackets here, but you know, I guess we'll have to get this thing all built out before we get the full picture of what this thing's going to look like. But better than old dusty aluminum, if you ask me. You know, I'm wondering if these could have gone blue. I was kind of on the fence about it. I think it would be a little weird because these actually aren't part of the engine, so it's kind of, I don't know, it's a lot of blue. Cool. All right, well, I think the next thing I want to do is pull this intake manifold back off here, because I think I'm actually going to paint this guy black too. I think it'll be a little bit of a bold move for sure, but this big silver, like, you know, whatever side angled intake manifold is just really recognizable for the like Fox body Mustang. It's very like 90s intake, I guess 80s and 90s, and I kind of want to avoid that look. I don't want to open the hood and just see a Fox body Mustang. And also, this is actually painted silver, or maybe, I don't know, ceramic coated or something, so it already kind of doesn't look that good. And this expensive plate I bought here is brushed aluminum, and it just totally doesn't match. It's like a shiny aluminum here and then just a spray painted gray silver here. So I'm gonna go all black with this thing. Oh, and I very much have to do the valve covers here too. I think it's time to pull those guys off of here, and we'll probably hit those with some black paint as well. All right, well, I started to strip this thing down, and looks like we have one bolt here that's snapped off. And it also doesn't help that this is, I'm pretty sure, aluminum, and this guy's a steel bolt, so that's just a recipe for stuck bolts there. At least it broke off with something to grab onto, so hopefully I can get this guy out. I guess if not, I can always drill it out and tap it. You know, I wasn't actually going to even pull this thing off. I was planning on leaving it as is, but the throttle body was so dirty it was actually frozen shut, and I had to kind of break it free. So I definitely need to do some cleaning in here. I don't know if you can see. Hold on. There we go. Yeah, it's pretty dirty. I mean, I guess right there isn't too bad. I was going to pull this thing off too, but I had another bolt that was suspiciously tight and it was starting to move, so I thought that maybe, I can't remember which one it was, but one of these 4 bolts here was for sure about to snap off as well. So I kind of just left it, and I think I might just leave this as is. All right, I'm going to grab some vice grips and we'll cross our fingers that we can get this guy out of here easily. Awesome. A little bit of heat and this thing came right out. Sweet. That's crisis averted there. All right, so before I start stripping this down, I kind of want to shave off some of this stuff. This is the left valve cover, and it has 2 simple little notches on it here to hold these spark plug cable clips. And I have the same 2 notches on this side, but it also has these kind of big like brackets for the spark plugs. And I kind of don't remember how this all fit together, but it seems a little bit excessive. So I think I'm gonna try and shave off these 3 brackets here. That way it'll give these guys a little bit of symmetry and look a little more like old school, kind of authentic. So I think I'll go ahead and try and, I guess these are kind of like spot welded, so I'll go ahead and try and drill these guys out, shave them down, and hopefully I don't make too much of a mess of this steel here. All right, I got this guy all shaved down. Didn't take him off as cleanly as I'd hoped, but I'm hoping that the wrinkle coat will hide some of this, and I think I might even just hit those with a little bit of weld and then grind it back flat, so that'll end up a little bit smoother. I did trim down this oil fill tube about 1 inch because I was pretty much positive it was gonna hit the hood. So let's see how that sits now. All right. Cool, that looks better to me. It's still pretty high, but I think that that'll clear the hood. All right, so I'm gonna get the paint stripped off these the best I can, and then weld that oil tube into its new position. All right, I got this one mostly stripped down, but I think I've spent about 2 hours stripping this thing down, and I just can't do any more. So I think I'll just leave this one as is and try and wrinkle coat over it. I'll probably Scotch-Brite or sand or whatever. I did prep this tube for welding, so I got this metal all cleaned off here, and I think I will go ahead and try and throw a little bit of weld on these kind of marks here. So I think I'll go ahead and do that really quick. Get this guy welded up and get these guys prepped for wrinkle coat stuff. All right, so I am going to bake these in the oven. Actually, 200 degrees at 20 minutes. It's actually an official method on the can. And the last time I did this, the oven dried these things out and wrinkled like a perfect even wrinkle coating on these guys. So these are all ready. Let's throw them in there. All right, well, they're cooled off. They're looking okay. Definitely didn't turn out as wrinkly this time. I think you gotta put a real thick coat of that stuff. But it does have a nice like textured matte finish. And the reality is these valve covers are mostly hidden by my intake manifold anyway, so I think I won't really worry about it too much. All right, so I think it's time to paint this guy. Kind of have some like good weather, some nice dry day here, so I'm going to first sand this guy down, get it roughed up. The paint will stick probably, hopefully a little bit better. Hit it with some primer, mask up a few little spots, then we'll hit this guy with some black paint. All right, I got this thing all primed up and looking okay. I'm using pretty much just engine paint. In fact, exactly like engine paint. I'm not sure how hot the intake manifold gets, but I figured this stuff would be good. I'm sure it gets pretty warm. I was kind of thinking too, I might sand down these guys to give like a brushed aluminum finned thing. I think that might look pretty cool. I'm still on the fence about that. I don't know, I'm open for opinions, but for now, of course, I'm just gonna hit it with all black and then I can sand that down pretty much any point, so we'll see. All right, so it's been a few days since I took this thing out of the barbecue, and the paint came out absolutely awesome. It definitely was a little bit soft when it came out of the barbecue, but now it's like pretty much like a powder coat. So super happy with how this guy came out. And there's the finished product. It's just sitting on here for now, of course. I still have to figure out the strut tower brace, but I'm liking the look. Valve covers look fresh. I like it. The next episode, I think I might get started on some engine wiring, and I think I want to figure out the radiator situation.